Hey there, chestnuts. Welcome to the Spanner Lab. Today we're going to be looking at the opera game, which was by Paul Morphy against a couple of European nobles in Paris in 1858 at an opera house. So this is a very, very old game, over 150 years old, and I don't know, it's one of the classics. If you're going to learn any chess games, these would be the ones to learn. Do I know this one by heart? No, I do not. I'm not that kind of person. I don't tend to learn these games by heart. The ones I tend to learn by heart are the ones that are over very, very quickly. I mean, this one is over very quickly, but not as quick as the ones I tend to learn. So this is Paris 1858. Paul Morphy is a lawyer who's too young to legally practice law. So what he does is he goes on a grand tour of Europe. He's American. He goes on a grand tour of Europe and makes a name for himself as a chess player. Now, he doesn't want to be a chess player. In those days, a chess player is a disreputable profession associated with gambling. But that's what Morphy's good at. Morphy doesn't want to be, but he is. So during the intermission at the opera, Morphy's watching the opera. Two European nobles come to find him, a duke and a count, come to find him and ask if they can play a game against him. So they take the black pieces. Actually, we don't know what colour pieces they took, because before we had black and white pieces going, second and first respectively. But they went second and he went first. And this is the game that followed. So it started with e4, king's pawn. Almost all games did at that point. E5 was the reply, just solidly trying to make space for the bishops and queens to come out later on the diagonals. Knight f3, attacking the pawn in the centre. d6, defending the pawn in the centre. So far this is so sensible. d4, Morphy offers up his pawn, but the duet do not take it. They instead play bishop to g4, which Bobby Fischer described as being weak. Okay. Yes, by modern standards, it doesn't look great at all. I mean, Anish Giri, during the World Championships between Jan Nepomniachtchi and Ding Liren, said that he used to find these games beautiful, games like the opera game and another famous game, the Immortal game. He used to find them beautiful, but now that we've got access to computers and he can look at them and see exactly how poor the moves are by modern standards, he no longer finds them beautiful because they're riddled with mistakes. But by the standard of the day, this was perfectly acceptable play. Morphy captures. Black, of course, doesn't want to capture back because after the exchange of queens, Black's king would be stranded in the centre, so straight away, Black has a bit of a problem in that they don't want to do this. Bishop takes f3 now, after queen takes f3. Now you can capture back, theoretically. It's still not great for Black. White has a piece developed. Black doesn't. But there we go. Bishop comes to c4, immediately threatening mate. So if the queen comes to f7, that will be checkmate. So Black needs to do something. Now that something should be queen to f6, just trying to neutralise the threat as quickly as possible. But knight f6 is functional as well. Okay, it blocks that attack, so queen can no longer see f7, so can't take f7. Queen pivots instead now, aiming to go this way. So making a threat against f7 and b7. Now the correct way to play here is to play queen e7, and that is what the duet did. So they cover this square and allow this to drop. Now, that is actually what Morphy should have played. Morphy should have played here with queen b4 and then the trade of queens, just because after that, okay, white lost the queen but has two pieces out, is ready to castle, has an extra pawn. But anyway, white doesn't play that, Morphy doesn't play that. Instead, he plays knight c3, developing another piece. Fair enough. c6 is played, so now the queen can cover b7, and that's no longer a threat. And white brings out another piece. So that's the real magic of the opera game, is you're seeing, okay, we've got every piece coming into the attack here. Morphy is displaying textbook development. Whereas black's position is kind of held together by this queen. This queen's doing everything. She's what's called overworked. This knight can't come out because that would hang the pawn. This bishop can't get out because the queen is in the way. So the duet now can't develop. Morphy's got all this development, got these 3 minor pieces and a major piece out, and black's queen is just spinning plates. And she can't do that forever. b5 to try and get rid of this problem on b7. Morphy sacrifices the knight and gets this check in. Now we've got challenges. The knight comes to d7, so we can finally develop that knight, but it's immediately pinned. Beautiful move here. It's always fun to be able to do this. Castle's queenside, so getting the king safe and bringing another piece into the attack. So because castling's such a beautiful move. I don't understand sometimes why junior players won't castle. Because I'm a chess teacher, I work with junior players all the time, and a lot of them, they just don't castle. I was like, why? It's 2 moves in one. You get to do 2 moves. You get to get your king safe and bring your rook in. It's brilliant. Black brings rook to d8 to try and defend. Rook captures. Seemingly trading down. You know, I think they expected this. It did not come. The other rook comes into the attack. So instead of capturing the pinned piece, we're putting pressure on the pinned piece. Okay? So pressure on the pinned piece, bringing the final piece into the attack. Queen to e6. Aiming to free up that bishop, but also just trying to get the queen to do something, threatening to sort of, well, neutralise this attack. But it's too late. Bishop takes d7. Check. Check is forcing. The queens can't trade off. Knight captures on d7. The fatal mistake. It was already pretty hopeless, but now it's over. It's checkmate in 2. Can you see it? I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, so the queen comes down to b8 with check, the only way out. So when you're looking for checkmates, you want to find ways that have no way out for your checkmate sequences. The only way out is to capture the queen. So some people would have seen this move and immediately dismissed it because the queen's lost. But the queen doesn't matter, the king does. Hello. Alright, the queen doesn't matter, the king does, because after knight takes, our rook and our bishop are perfectly in position, and rook d8 is checkmate. Such a famous checkmate that in fact this pattern of defending the rook and covering the escape square with the bishop is known as an opera mate, because it famously happened, probably not for the first time, but famously happened in this game at the Opera in Paris in 1858. It's not a perfect game of chess, but it's a perfect example of bringing every piece into the attack. So after his tour of Europe, Morphy returned to the United States to practice law, but he was never quite as successful a lawyer as he was a chess player. He's sometimes known as the joy and sorrow of chess, in that he was such a brilliant chess player of his time, probably the greatest player of his time. He never did play against Howard Staunton, the other potential greatest chess player of the time, but it is thought that if they had met, he would have beaten him. And unfortunately, he died quite young after a not very successful law career. There we go. So that is the opera game. I hope you enjoyed that, and I will hopefully bring you another one of those very, very soon. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you can. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye bye.